This video is to show how to create the basic database for a People's Choice Accounting Desktop program. It will cover the setup of the chart of accounts, the financial periods, and the setup of one bank account, which are the basic journals and tables that need set up to use the basic accounting program. To create a new People's Choice company database for use for your company, you need to first open up the program after installation and go to the demo company provided with the People's Choice Accounting Desktop program. You would go to the Setup menu. You would go to Create New Company. Each company in People's Choice Accounting has a 4-digit code. We're just going to use the code YOUR for your company, but you can choose any 4 digits for your 4-digit code for your company. Once you've selected that, click Next. We recommend just leaving these as is. Click Next. You can use the chart of accounts that comes with the demo company, or you can create a blank chart of accounts, which isn't recommended, or you can use a predefined chart of accounts. Regardless of which choice you choose, you can always add to your chart of accounts, change the name, change the account number, or delete if there is no history within that particular general ledger account. So for our purposes, we're going to select a general business and we just click Finish. Security is automatically set up when the People's Choice program and data tables are created. The default login and password are user1, USER1, and the password is USER1. And we recommend you go into the settings, setup menu, and go to security and change the password for user1 so you can improve the security of access to your People's Choice accounting data. So it does take a while to create the tables and to link to the tables. So I'm going to pause it for a sec until that's completed. Once the data tables have been created and you've linked to your new company database, you will be brought to this screen where, as indicated earlier, your login is user USER1 and the password is the same, USER1, and then click OK. So here's where you would enter your company name and your street address, name of your city, name of your state, the zip you have, your phone number, and the other parts of your profile. Yes here, and then your federal ID, whatever that may be. We're going to 32, and then you've done the basic profile setup for your company. The sales tab is only if you're going to be using the invoicing and accounts receivable system, which will be covered. The setup will be covered in another video. Same with the inventory and the general ledger. You would go in and you would complete undeposited cash, which is really only needed with your receivables, but we're going to set it up as if the receivables was going to be used, at least from the standpoint we won't set up the taxes and so forth or the inventory. You can always come back to this screen and complete other setup, but this is the basic setup that you would have. After you've done this, the next step is to go ahead and create your financial periods. So you default it to 2022. We're going to create new common periods. We're going to make them 12 months, and we're going to start in January. If you're a fiscal year business, then you can start any month of the year, but we're just going to stay on a regular calendar year in this example. So this opens financial periods for all of 2022. Next year you would click over here, you would click New Common Periods, copy as previous years. So we have the basic accounting portion of the program set up. For the real functionality to work well out of the gate, you would want to set up a bank account. So you would go to Banking, click Bank Account, click New. You would type in the bank account number provided by your bank. You want to make sure it's active. Put in your bank and their address, and you may want to track whether it's a checking or a savings, or some businesses use the banking journal as a credit card journal and just track the negative bank balance. That is what they owe on a particular credit card. And then you need to assign each bank account to a GL account, and that drop-down list, we're just going to select checking, cash checking for that bank account. Over here is where you can have your start check numbers. We track 3 different sets of numbers for checks, one for computer checks, manual checks. Other is usually for debit card transactions or online banking transactions where you've used your bank account. There is the option within the program to print checks to blank check stock, where you would enter in your routing number here, and then the 9-digit routing number, and then Shift A. As you can see down here, the A stands for these symbols that you're going to find at the bottom of a check for the MICR numbering, and then usually a space 1, 2, whatever the bank account number is, and usually on us. So if you fill this information in, then you would want to put the routing code as well as the ABA number up here, and then you would have the basics that's needed for printing to blank check stock. And now the system's ready to be used. If you're going to have a full general ledger, you don't have to do this right out of the gate, but you would want to eventually go into beginning balances and put them. In our example, we're going to say we started with the ending balances of 2021, and we're just going to leave it blank for right now. We highly recommend that if you're going to put in a trial balance so that you can maintain a balance sheet as well as an income statement, that you get guidance of a professional accountant. For our purposes, we're going to pretend that we just started our business. We don't have any assets in the business, so there is really no trial balance, and we're going to create our beginning trial balance by just making a bank deposit into our checking account. So we'll go in here, we're going to click New, we'll put Open Checking Account, and we'll say where you put that in. We started at the beginning of the year. We're going to say we made that deposit on Monday, July 3rd, or January 3rd, and we contributed $1,000, and it was what we call a capital purchase. It wasn't an expense, it's money we put into the business. We would click Post, and this will provide our starting trial balance. So from here, we can go in. If you want to look at detailed transactions, you can go to banking journals. The only transaction we have is our open checking account, but it displays the $1,000 balance. Any checks we've entered would be listed here. Any adjustments to our bank account would be listed here. If you had more than one bank account, you would use the drop-down list to select which bank account you want to use. So most of your check entry, though, will be done through this screen. And there are on the Safe Choice Help Center, there are how-tos on creating checks, creating deposits, and so forth. So, but that's basically new. It's going to bring up your first check and what kind of check it is, and the amount and the distribution, and you're off and running. So you can always enter checks, always enter in the deposits or adjustments, and you can implement a bank reconciliation reconciliation right away with this kind of setup. If you are putting in the beginning of or middle of a business setup, you're transferring from another system, then there is a separate step for getting your outstanding checks in the system and making sure that your bank journals are in sync with your actual bank account, using your bank in, monthly statements. But that also would be handled in another video. So this is just the basic setup of a new company in the People's Choice Accounting Desktop program.